Disclaimer: the things that are going to be discussed in this video are very serious. If you don't like that, then click away, because I am not the right person that should be handling these issues.
Okay, this is going to be special because I stopped the recording right when things were really about to hit the fan, and where this book just goes full on offensive. So I guess this is just a warning.
I impulsively asked to confirm what I had earlier seen. So, your Seth is... She interrupted, hopefully soon completely out of my life. My curiosity overtook me. I asked, what happened? She frowned and said, other than what happened in the parking lot? I responded, well, I don't know. Don't say anything you don't want to. She stared up at her feet as we continued to walk. I noticed her makeup was running. Shortly after, she noticed too and began to rush getting home. Walking faster, she said, I'm sorry. I really don't want you to see me like this. She continued to rush slightly ahead of me. I stopped walking and said, hey! She slowed down and stopped till facing away from me. We stood in the rain for only a few seconds before she asked, do you think makeup really helps anyone? I replied,
And there it is. There it is. There's here it is, the confirmation that she is an abuse survivor. There it is. Yay. Are y'all happy? She's an abuse survivor. There it is. And he is just gonna say a bunch of dumb crap. And she's just gonna be like, oh, you're so amazing anyways, even though if any real person, if you said that to an actual abuse victim, you would be very offended. Ugh. Oh, boy.
still looking at her back. I think it helps us forget what we don't want to remember, and lets us pretend we're a little more perfect than we really are. She laughed sadly and said, that's one way to put it. I smiled and replied, makeup is just makeup, and skin is just skin. It is what it is. Abby looked up at the rain for a moment, and then...
What does that mean? I'm gonna throw my pencil. I did it. I threw my pencil.
And down at the ground again. She then turned around with her rain-soaked face, revealing what she was hiding under her makeup. Standing before her in the rain, looking at the results of what she had suffered, it broke my heart. Abby wasn't worried about her makeup running for the reason I thought. She was just afraid of...
Yeah, broke your heart, huh, Greg?
what I would think when I saw the bruises on her face. Some just like mine. Do you see them? She asked with a quiver in her voice. Without restraint, I responded with the first thing that came to my mind. I see a beautiful girl, who I very much enjoy walking
Did he just repeat the same thing twice?
with in the rain. Despite her face being covered in falling drops of water, I could clearly see tears fall from her eyes. Her head fell forward as she began to shake, her tears falling almost in sync with the rain. I walked up to her and put my arm around her side and walked with her the rest of the way home. As we got to her doorstep, I said, I'm just 7 letters away. Call me if you need anything, okay? She smiled.
No one says that. No one says anything that this book says. You know what? If you... I know this book talks about really heavy stuff. And if you're dealing with that stuff, I'm so sorry. I mean, you probably shouldn't go to me. I don't know what advice I could give you. I probably should just shut up because I probably just offended a bunch of... I'm probably being really offensive. Not that I want to be, but like, I'm so sorry if anyone has to go through the stuff in this book. And I hope, I don't know, you find happiness, and I hope you find happiness in whatever it is, as long as it's not a relationship like in this book. I hope I hope like that you don't do anything that's in this book. Do any of the serious things that are in this book. You know what? Just
And nodded. See you tomorrow? She asked. I replied, I got suspended for 2 days. She looked offended. Wow, punishing the guy who got beat up. Classy. I responded.
Huh. You know, that was a really serious moment. And you know what? These two idiots just had to do it. You know what? I don't even think I should feel. I don't even think I should feel bad for anyone in this book. I don't think I should. I know being abuse is real and it's very serious, and I don't want to get political, but just this girl, this boy.
Responded, yeah, well, I pushed him back. She replied, clearly not hard enough. I laughed sadly, looking down as she unexpectedly wrapped her arms around me. Despite it being so cold out and her being soaked, it was the warmest hug I had ever received. I hugged her back, said goodbye, and walked home with a huge smile on my face, bruises and all. End of chapter 2.
Yay! Chapter 2's over! Woohoo! Give it a clap. We all survived that. Stupid crap. I should not be handling any of the issues presented in this book. I should not be handling any of it. Because I am not the right person.
On to Abigail, chapter 3. Briefly after I fell asleep that night, I had a dream about Abby. It was the first dream I had experienced in some time. I'm not normally the type of person to be deeply impacted by dreams, as more often than not, I can control them. I can recognize the fact that I'm in a dream and twist things around so that whatever is making me afraid becomes afraid of me. This...
Hear that? Hear that, people? He's better at dreaming than you! That joke is not mine. That joke... oh. Crimson Rogue's review. You should go check it out, and all the other reviews that the people do on this book, this nightmare piece of this dumpster fire of a book.
Tactic, however, could not possibly work in this soon-to-be nightmare, as there was no living monster waiting around the corner. There was no emotion in this machine that was about to reveal itself to me. I could only watch without a physical form. I was just a helpless spectator in my own mind. The dream began without any sound. Only a deep hum accompanying what appeared to be Abby laughing in a field of what looked like gray grass from afar. As my view of her revealed more detail, I began to realize that what I thought was grass was actually long, slender claws. Experiencing a more alarmed spectrum of emotion. The audible hum cut out and was replaced by Abby's screams. The sound echoed bouncing off the walls of my mind, splitting me in two and engulfing the core of my being. I was not framing any words in her screams, and I began to understand why the more I analyzed every detail. I shifted my perspective to a new angle. I was now above her, looking down, and could see the claws were pulling her into the ground. She showed no resistance to being dragged into the ground. She didn't even cry for help. She would only scream
She just wanted out of this book, and honestly, I don't blame her.
In pain as she slowly sank beneath the surface. I began to distinctly hear blades and gears violently turning just beneath her.
I'm making popcorn! You want any?
It's difficult to explain, but in her eyes I could see she didn't want to be saved, as she genuinely felt she had earned the suffering she was enduring. She believed she deserved to be ground up until there was nothing left. Once she was pulled completely under, I was finally given a physical form in the dream. Dropping from above, I landed on the soil she disappeared in. I immediately dropped to my knees and began digging with my bare hands to get to Abby. I was only inches deep before the ground ripped open, forcing me to jump back. A deep canyon began to form central to where I had begun digging. The splitting and groaning quickly gained momentum. Ripping and screeching sounds erupted all around me as the earth divided before me at a now crippling rate. A hellish sight consumed my eyes as I looked down on the collapsing landmass below. Powerful machines wielding massive blades swung violently, scraping dirt and rock with a sound so tremendous I could only faintly hear the screams of countless desperate humans below.
What? Okay, Greg, I think you're gonna have to hold off on the hot sauce late at night. Anyone who gets that reference you're cool. Hold off on hot sauce. Stop this snorting the hot sauce. Not good for you.
I quickly realized the terrified voices beyond the ripping blades were no illusions. Thousands of lives were being devoured in piles, no person among them begging for life. Rather, like Abby, they screamed only from pain delivered not just by the roaring blades and gears, but their very existence itself.
What
Suffering
the
and
heck
consciousness
am I
had
listening?
become one in the
What
same.
am I? What
I
am
then woke up to my room filled with
subjecting the
sunlight,
world to?
but it could
What
not
am I
change the
doing?
darkness
Why
my
am I
dream left me
doing
with.
this?
I felt
This is
something inside me
not-
change,
why?
almost if I had seen something I was never meant to, and now had to find a way to
I'm
move the
hearing
thick cloud
something I'm
freshly
not
looming
meant to
over my head.
hear.
It is as if I said briefly before. I feel like a visitor here, like I'm in this world but not a part of it like everyone else. I study people and situations to find out how they work, and sometimes my dreams fill in the emotions and thoughts I missed while I was awake. Not having to go to school that day due to my suspension, I decided to write a letter to Abby. It read, "When I look in your eyes, I at times..."
Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, here comes the letter. Oh, okay. Don't you, this is the most romantic letter ever.
feel a level of sadness I have never felt, as if we, despite barely knowing each other, have been apart for far too long.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! He even admitted it. He admitted that they don't know each other. He knows that this book is bad.
I talk to you, it is like I am listening to a voice I've ached for, yet haven't heard in a lifetime. Every other experience I have with you seems familiar, but at the same time, it hurts, like you would feel if you begged for something and only received it when you had already given up hope. These feelings are all so strange and evolving at a rate that scares me, as they are for someone I am only just now truly to get to know. Even with my brief presence in your life, I've picked up on so much suffering and almost feel powerless to create any change. There are so many wounds, so many scars, so much I only know enough about to feel it. I'm trying to understand. Abby, you have more pain in your life than I can imagine. I can hear it in your voice, I can see it in your eyes, and in the way you move. I just want to see you smile without there being an ocean wall of tears behind your eyes. I want to hear everything you have to say. I want to find a way to heal the damage done until you can forget it ever existed. I sent the letter to an email address. Moments later, the phone rang. Answering the phone, I heard Abby's voice on the other end.
Don't you just... wasn't that so romantic?
Hey, can you meet me at the quick shop? She asked. I responded, Did you see my email? She replied, Nope. Why didn't you just call? I said, It would have been really hard to say over the phone. I had to find the words. She replied, Okay, I'll look and then I'll head over. And then I confirmed, Sure, see you there.
This is stupid.
Shortly after, I got dressed
All
and
of
skated
this
over
is
to
so
meet her. I
stupid!
arrived quickly, thanks to what seemed to be a record speed for me. However, once I arrived, I found myself waiting for someone who now had no intention of meeting me. I could only assume I had just made myself look like a huge jerk to her. I attempted to call her from a nearby payphone, and she didn't answer. As I skated home, in my mind, I went through the letter I wrote over and over. I began to blame myself, concluding based on her absence that I must have dug too deep too fast. I scared her away because I reacted on the emotions I experienced in that dream before actually considering the human being on the other side of the letter. I felt like I was just about to finally connect with someone, only to ruin everything at the last minute. End
Oh, is this actual character development?
of Chapter 3.
Nope.
Chapter
Nope,
4
not
of
it.
Stones to
Psych.
Abigail. My suspension had been lifted, and I had just arrived back at Lakewood High. Approaching my history class, I could hear people snickering as they watched me walk by. Someone screamed, "Wuss! Learn how to fight!" behind me, but I just kept walking. As I sat down in class, Mr. Hanson walked up to me.
What? Okay. You know what? This video's over. It's done. And thanks for watching. If you want to see more, let me know. Bye-bye.
Wow, that sure was a terrible video, but if you like this, then watch out for some of my own content. I'm actually creating my own story of my own. It's gonna be better than this one. It's gonna call Eon High. Has a bunch of it's all my OCs being dumb. Look out for it and like, comment, subscribe.